Maximize the impact of your launches. Be a little louder. You know your customers well, you know where they hang out. Take the incredible work that your engineering product research team is doing and amplify it to the world.
Hi everyone, you're listening to Scaling DevTools. I'm joined today by Luke from ElevenLabs, and we dig into the origin story of ElevenLabs.
And then Peter's like, I think I can be the first person to make human-like speech with AI. So he quit Google, built his own GPU set. Matty was still working at Palantir and basically like sharing his salary with Peter. They started with 11 voices. They started with 11 customers.
How they created such a cool voice model.
Peter managed to cross this threshold, like make the best models, like on actually really not very many GPUs.
Launches and why they matter so much.
And so the core assets, normally, first one we actually start with is the tweet thread. So it's like, what's the hook? And there's the top tip is you start with the word introducing.
Enjoy the episode.
Hi, I'm Luke Harries. It's great to be here with you, Jack.
Nice.
So yeah, great to be here. I'm excited to chat.
Yeah. So yeah, for people that don't know, ElevenLabs is like the best way to generate voice.
Yes. Yeah. So the way I describe ElevenLabs is we have the best AI audio models. And so we do this for text-to-speech. We were the first company to make human-like speech with AI. We do speech-to-text. So we've got the highest benchmarking transcription models. And then we also create AI agents with voices, so conversational AI. And we basically take these like core foundation models, which really is like, you know, proper researches, transformers applied to audio. And then we build different products on top. So we have a consumer app, which is called our Reader app. We have a creator product, which is for making voiceovers for videos or audiobooks. And we have developer products, so our like API platform, and then these conversational AI voice agent builders. So yeah, quite a few different products going on.
Yeah, super cool. I have not used it for the developer side, but which I'll ask about in a second.
Yes.
But I'll just say like the few ways that I've used it. So I use it in Scaling DevTools for like intros when I want to say like Reddit comments and stuff. Like I was like in the intro saying what people had said on Reddit in different voices, like creating it. I used it for my nan's 90th birthday video where I did like her life using, and I, you know, Jean was born in 1938 or something. And on this
You won't
street.
be showing this to your grandma,
Yeah,
this podcast.
I will show her. And then I also used it when I was like this was ages ago, but like I created like a kind of audiobook about FFmpeg to like learn more about how like the filters work and like using ChatGPT and generating. And ElevenLabs is super cool. So, but maybe you could tell us about the developer products as well, like how people can use it as devs.
Yeah, 100%. So there's two main ways people use it. So yeah, lots of people who use it are the creators and they use our UI products, but everything right from the start, we've also exposed as APIs. And so the simplest API we have and the most used one is text-to-speech, which is you just send in text and you generate really high quality audio. And we have two different models you can use for this. We have our multilingual model, which is like our big model, takes a little longer, but really does like the emotion right and is fantastic for async use cases. So it's used by companies like Captions, HeyGen, Synthesia. And that's actually where the business got started on like the API side. And then over time, we've like refined these models, made them more powerful and smaller. And so we have the other class of models, which is like the low latency models. And so this is Flash and Turbo. And those models are really fantastic for stuff like the real-time use cases. So if you're creating a sales agent or you're creating a customer support agent or you're creating a tutor. And what we found, so that's kind of the text-to-speech APIs. And then the other main one is the speech-to-text APIs. And so you can take this podcast, you can feed it in. It's also ridiculously cheap. Like feeding in this entire podcast would only be a couple of cents. And you can feed in the entire, cup or pennies for the Brit. I've rewired my brain to be dollars.
No, that's good.
But yeah, you can feed in the whole podcast and it would give you like the most accurate transcript. You can also have audio events. So you could have it output the breathing and the other bits. And You can also get like character level timestamps. So if you're making like captions type product. And what we found though was lots of people were taking these really cool APIs. So text to speech, speech to text. They were plugging those together to create full AI agents and like putting an LLM in the middle. And so by about the 20th company that we had helped build these agents with text to speech, speech to text, LLM, text to speech, and turn taking, we're like, okay, maybe we should like help people build that as well. And so that's where our conversational AI product is, where you can build these end-to-end voice agents.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Didn't realize you had that. I need to try that.
Yeah. It's good fun. And the way that we've set it up is you can either bring your own brain. So lots of companies, you know, particularly at larger scale, you've already built an LLM based or text based product where you have like the LLM you have the RAG, you have the evals, you have that all set up, and you can basically wrap it with like voice in, voice out, and turn taking. So that's one use case. Or the other way is like, if you're a small startup, we provide like the hosted RAG, the hosted LLM, like you can select from any of the top LLM providers, like at cost for the LLMs. And what's really cool about that is like you can get to production so quick. So you can just type in your prompt, select your voice, and then you have the full agent, and you can either deploy it, like connect a phone number, or like put a snip on your website. Like on my website, you can actually go and chat to me about any of my articles. And that's
Really?
I built in like 5 minutes. So
okay, so and it's like audio chat with Luke.
Yes, yeah, with my own voice tone.
And it knows what blog. You can ask anything about like stuff that you've written.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's got all my blog posts loaded in. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very cool. Scaling DevTools is sponsored by WorkOS. If things start going well, some of your customers are going to start asking for enterprise features. Things like audit trails, SSO, skim provisioning, role-based access control. These things are hard to build, and you could get stuck spending all your time doing that instead of actually making a great dev tool. That's why WorkOS exists. They help you with all of those enterprise features, and they're trusted by OpenAI, Vercel, and Perplexity. And if you use them for user management, you get your first million monthly active users for free. I honestly don't know any dev tools that have 1 million monthly active users, apart from GitHub maybe. So that'll get you pretty far. Here's what Kyle from Depot has to say about WorkOS.
We use WorkOS to effectively add all of the SSO and skim to Depot. It's single-handedly like one of the best developer experiences I've ever seen for what is like a super painful problem if you were to go and try to roll that yourself. So for us, we can effectively offer SSO and skim, and it's like 2 clicks of a button, and we don't ever have to think about it. It's like one of the best features that we can add to Depot. It's super affordable, which effectively allows us to like break the SSO tax joke and essentially say like you can have SSO and skim as like an add-on onto your monthly plan. Like it's no problem. So it really allows smaller startups to essentially offer like that enterprise feature without a huge engineering investment behind it. Like it's literally, we can just use a tool behind the scenes and our life is exponentially easier.
I think the biggest question I had about ElevenLabs is like sort of like how, because it felt like it came out and it was like so much better than everything else. And I was like, who are these guys? Like, how did they do this?
Yeah. So ElevenLabs was founded by 2 guys, Matty and Peter. And they're both Polish. They grew up in Poland. They're childhood best friends. And they're both super smart. So Peter, he went to Oxford and then Cambridge and then Google. And Matty, he went to like Imperial, aced it at maths, and then BlackRock, and then Palantir. And they're both like super smart childhood best friends. And they would get together and they would like use their vacation time to go together on weekends on holiday and just like hack on projects.
Really?
Yeah. They were like just hack together, which I think is a sick way to use your vacation time. Like more people should do that. They growing up in Poland in the early 2000s, and even now, when you listen to movies or TV shows, like Poland's a pretty small country relative to the world. Not that many people outside of Poland speak Polish. And so when you translate films and movies into Polish, largely they don't translate it, so you just get the subtitles. Or if they do translate it, they just have one speaker, one voice actor who does the entire thing. So if you imagine watching Friends with Rachel and Ross, and they're both played by one middle-aged Polish man, the love scene's not going to be any good. And so what Matty and Peter were riffing on is like, how can we make it so we can take like any content and turn it into any language? And so when you like decompose that problem, it's like, okay, what do you need to do? Well, first you need to like understand what they're saying, what the emotion is. Then you need to like translate it into the other language. And then you need to turn that text into speech. And so they're like, okay, decompose the problem. Let's first try and tackle the text into speech. And Peter, like ex-Google, he basically spent all his time throughout his life just like working on his own research projects. And this problem of making human-like speech, it's not a new problem. Like we've been doing it literally since the 1700s with like wind-powered machines going through various pipes. You then had the early digital speech synthesis machines with like Stephen Hawking. And Stephen Hawking's voice is great. It's very distinctively him. It's fantastic for accessibility. But you wouldn't want to read your kids a bedtime story with Stephen Hawking's voice, unless you're saying it's Stephen Hawking. It's like, you know, a wholly different experience to Calm with Matthew McConaughey with those deep tones. So he was like, can I turn text into speech? Like tackled this problem, left Google, built his own GPU rack and like managed to do it. And then ElevenLabs launched.
Really? So he just did it, like he built his own GPU rack.
And there's a cool bit whereby Peter tells Matty, like they had hacked together various like prototypes at point or like different bits around audio. And then Peter's like, I think I can be the first person to like make human-like speech with AI. And so he quit Google, he built his own GPU set. Matty was still working at Palantir and basically like sharing his salary with Peter.
That's
and then
cool.
Peter like built it, and like as they're nearing the move, it's like Matty then quit Palantir as well. Like they properly co-founded, incorporated the company, and then they started with 11 voices. They exposed it through API and UI. It's just like literally a small text box on the site where you could type in text, and they started with 11 customers. The 11 beta customers, you'll see the word 11 a lot. And they really realized they had something when someone took their entire book and paragraph by paragraph into this small text box on the site to generate the book and then stitch it together.
Like days.
Yeah, days of like copying and paste. We have much better systems for that now, but yeah.
Wow. That salary sharing. Do you know Veed?
Yes.
I think that's also how they started.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember if Saba or Tim was working, and then the other one was like doing half the salary. Yeah. And it's actually a really cool way to do it.
It's a very cool way.
The thing I was curious was like the data as well. Like, does it like, how did they train? Like, just like one guy with GPUs in his room. Also, like, it seems like the voice data would be
the data. So in general, we don't talk about our like training data. That's like voice is so competitive. And so like, there's just certain things where like, you know, I can talk a lot about it, but that we're just like, competitors would love to know. The interesting thing with training these audio models is, unlike other types like intelligence, where you do need a ton of GPUs, like Peter managed to get like cross this threshold, like make the best models, like on actually really not very many GPUs. And now we have scaled it, and like the more you scale it, you do now see increasing results. But that was like quite an interesting quirk of the training, which like you may not have otherwise been able to like one guy pretty much in his bedroom.
It's a good constraint as well to start with. That, like, if you have that, prove that it can be good, and then
100%.
Pump loads of money.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then you yourself have been, I was saying to you before that like next time you join an early stage startup, I just need to apply to whatever company it is, because I think you've worked with PostHog, now ElevenLabs. Like,
yeah.
I mean, people know PostHog, I think, as well. Like, amazing company. How did you join ElevenLabs?
Yeah, so Matty and I, when we were 19, one of my best friends, he's Polish, and we were studying at Cambridge together. I was actually a medical student, but spent all my time coding, hacking on projects, trying to do startups. And my friend Philip, me and him would hack together on various things. And he was like, Luke, there's Hack Cambridge, which is like the biggest hackathon in the university. I've got 2 friends. Let's just go do it one weekend. I was like, yeah, sure. Sounds like a lot of fun. Turns out this hackathon is probably the most important weekend of my life. So it was me, Philip, and Matty, who then went on to found ElevenLabs. And we get together and we actually built something which is like, it's completely different to ElevenLabs, but similar space, which is it would help blind people use the internet by running the images on the website through a vision model, generating captions, and then reading that out loud. Really? Yeah. So it's like slightly funky audio related bit. But it worked really well because the issue is like, loads of pages on the internet don't have captions, so they can't tell. You just hear image, like what's the image. So we did this hackathon and we actually ended up winning the Microsoft prize. And so we each got an Xbox. We're like, oh, this is sick. Like we all immediately sold it on eBay for 350 quid. And then we like just stayed in touch. And what's been amazing with that group, and it's why like if you can just do like the only tip I think I would give young people is like do hackathons with your smartest friends or do projects with your smartest friends. Don't call it a startup. Don't try and raise money, at least for just get some projects under your belt and work with people who you think are amazing. And Philip, who organized this hackathon, he went on to found WordWare, which raised the largest seed round ever from YC. They're building like what's the new version of Zapier, but in an LLM first world where you can basically like type in natural text where I want to build no code tool. And then Matty went to found on ElevenLabs. And so me and Matty, we basically catch up every 6 months and riff on different ideas. And the story of how I joined ElevenLabs is that I basically missed out on investing in it and was like, oh no, I've mucked up. So the story in the investing is we caught up and he goes, yeah, Luke, I'm just leaving Google to found a company. And we were swimming in the Hampstead Heath ponds, which for the Americans, a pond's a small, dirty puddle of water. And yes, we do actually go swimming on them in London. There's not the lovely Californian ocean like they're used to. So we're going swimming in these ponds. He taps the thing and he's like, oh, it's 11 degrees. My company's called ElevenLabs. And I'm like, that's a pretty weird. ElevenLabs? Like, what's the product do? He goes, well, step number 1, we're going to build the best AI audio models in the world. So we're going to build the best text-to-speech models, like human-like speech. And I'm like, cool, but like, what's that actually used? You're building some AI model. And then he goes, well, number 2, we're going to sell it to everyone. We're going to build a reader app where people can read articles out loud on their commutes. We're going to build a creator platform where people can make audiobooks and voiceovers for their videos. We're going to create a developer platform where we give API access, and we're going to build a way for people to make end-to-end voice agents. And I was like, what do you mean you're going to sell it to everyone? He goes, yeah, from like companies like Netflix to dub their videos to, the best startup founders. I'm like, that's a terrible go-to-market. What do you mean you're selling it to, like, no, surely you need like one persona you go deep on. He's like, yeah, I think we're like, well, we'll just build the models first and then we'll see how it goes. And it turns out they built the models and they launched it and it went incredibly. And he didn't explicitly ask to invest, but I'd done like a little bit by then.
You could have pushed.
Should have pushed. Could have pushed. That was a mistake. But then we basically stayed, we still were chatting every so often. And I would constantly get VC friends pinging me being like, I heard ElevenLabs has just got this many users or created this much audio. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. The FOMO must have been
The FOMO
insane.
was building. And then Matty at some point rings me and goes, oh, Luke, we're looking for someone to do like all the growthy things at ElevenLabs, like help us get more users, do SEO, do paid ads. And I was like, well, I've never formally done growth stuff. Like post-arg, I was leading product. I founded my own company where you're doing like all the CEO-y type things, basically, building the first version of the product. And I very much saw myself as like more of an engineer. But I was like, sure, I'll join, give it a go. And it's been a lot. I've actually really enjoyed like I've reframed in my head what marketing is, which I think has helped. So yeah, I've really enjoyed.
How have you reframed it?
I think basically it's just like, how do you tell the world about the incredible work the research and the engineering team is doing? And what I've realized I really like with ElevenLabs and is like, it's not necessarily me building the product. I'm like, look at the incredible models that Peter has built, or the incredible APIs that Tim and Flavio, or the incredible conversational AI product that Joseph has built. And it's like, how do we use our creativity to just like tell the story in the best possible way? Like, how do we make this incredible launch video, which really encapsulates what this conversational AI product is, like takes it down to the core abstract in a way which will resonate? How do we create like pages for SEO which genuinely add value? So when you type in text-to-speech Hindi, we have a speech box where you can like type in any Hindi and it'll generate it. Like that's genuinely useful. And so I think the reframes from like these small growth hacks of like your own stuff, which feels a bit egotistical, to like, no, how do we like tell the story of what the team's doing in an amazing way? And then like also do that in a way where we deliver more value.
Yeah. And I guess that is a lot easier to do when it is such a kind of groundbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, I always joke, it's like the growth team, we try our best. We have some incredible people on the team, but like it's a different game when you're playing with the quality of these models and products. And the analogy I use is it's like we're in a car race. Like me and you, we're both racing along. We're doing engineering, we're doing product, we're speaking to users, we're creating SEO pages, we're scaling marketing. Like we're in a normal car race. And then Peter and the research team just come in and give you a nitro boost. And like genuinely, they drop the best speech to text model in the world. It's like suddenly the sales team has a much easier job, or like our marketing video is going to be way better.
Yeah, that's actually, because I think for that one especially, because I'm obviously interested in that, because the podcast and stuff is like, it's just if you can say, okay, that is actually the best in the world, it's like, okay, well, that kind of trumps everything, where you're like.
And the nice thing about the speech to text model, which we haven't cracked in text to speech to text is so objective. There's a ground truth. We know exactly what we said. We've not like, you know exactly what you said. You can compare a benchmark, you can score it, and ElevenLabs beats the new version of Whisper, it beats Gemini, it beats blah, blah, blah. And it does it in all these different languages. Well, as the tricky thing with text to speech is, and why I respect sound designers so much, is like, you need to have your ear attuned to like helping work out which is the better voice. And what we find is when customers A/B test our voices versus other voices in their application, like retention goes up, engagement goes up, but you don't necessarily have that same like core benchmark.
So it's kind of like downstream from.
You see it on your business metrics. If you have a great ear, you can hear it. And then there's like a few other axes then where like we try to make it super clear, like we have the widest selection of fantastic voices. So you can use like a British voice, or you could use Californian voice, or you could use older man, younger man, conversational, audiobook style. There's all these different axes of voices, which we've tried to really make it so you can experience the different power and variety of these models.
Yeah, what we should do actually, and I need to, and I'll put this in the notes so you know that I actually remembered to do it. If you don't see that, then don't trust it. But like, we should use the raw, like we should transcribe this with
and
100%. Not touch it at all, so that people
raw
can,
transcripts,
so that people can assess as well. That'll be super cool.
100%.
And also like I saw that the Lex Fridman thing was that big? Because
so Lex, we've been really fortunate to work with Lex on a couple of projects. So Lex Fridman has this fantastic podcast. He interviewed Vladimir Zelensky.
Yeah. I listened to that one.
Which is like, the president of Ukraine, absolutely massive interview. And during their conversation, they're speaking a combination of English, Ukrainian, and Russian, all within the same podcast. And the number of people, there's not, it's very important that people who speak all those languages as one person understand that. But it's also important, like everyone across the world who maybe only speaks English or only speaks Russian or only speaks Ukrainian can also understand the full podcast. And so what we did was we worked with his team to translate that such that everyone could do it. And when we say translate or dub these, what we do is we create their voice clone from their voice and then regenerate basically the entire thing using either the English or the Russian or the Ukrainian.
That's really cool. And did it just kind of happen organically, or was it something that you were like?
I think he basically wanted, so he's, I think, Russian, Ukraine. I'm not exactly sure where he's from, but he had planned this podcast and was like, and we've worked together on different bits and things before to dub his general podcast. And he was like, okay, we would love your help to like do this.
Yeah.
And dubbing isn't yet at the point where it's like fully end-to-end fantastic without human intervention. So the way we have a couple of different versions of dubbing. You can either use like end-to-end dubbing, which is like fine for consumer use cases. Like we've not really crossed the threshold yet of it being fantastic. There's Dubbing Studio, where you can go in and like manually edit the translations. And actually lots of the issue is on the translation side rather than like the voice generation. But you can go in and manually edit the translations and regenerate. Or we have this fully managed service called 11 Productions, where we work with you to do the translation. And that's what we arranged with Lex Fridman's team, is like, okay, as soon as he'd finished the podcast, he would send us all the things, and 24 hours later, we turn around the full stuff. And what we didn't realize, we thought it was going to be mainly Ukrainian, or mainly, I think we thought is mainly going to be Ukrainian. And then we get the audio files come in and we're like, oh wow, they're saying English, Ukrainian, and Russian all within the same sentence. And so we need people who are like expert level translators, because the pressure, if you mistranslate global leaders, is huge. Yeah. So we had that one, and then we had another fantastic one with Modi, who's the president of India, which was a real privilege for our team to do.
Okay, and that one was probably a little bit easier.
From the technical side, yes, still very high stakes. But yeah, we were very pleased with how that one came out.
Okay, that's really cool. But I feel like Lex is kind of like feeding into like the developer, so the developer products. I feel like that. I mean, I saw a survey recently, and I think Lex Fridman was like top 5 podcasts for developers, and then the reach beyond that is obviously massive.
Yes.
It must have driven a lot of growth on like the developer product.
So we do a few different things for the developer products. So we do partnerships with fantastic people like Lex. We do our AI engineer pack. I'm not sure if you've seen that, where we partnered with companies like WorkOS and Reset, basically all the top developer tools in the world.
Yeah.
If you want free credits,
sponsoring the podcast as well.
Shout out to WorkOS. If you want free credits to like any of the top dev tools in the world, MongoDB, Mistral, Black Forest, like go to aiengineerpack.com. You sign up with GitHub, and as long as you have like legitimate GitHub, we will give you, I think it's about $50 in credits for all these different tools. So if you're packing around, that's really fantastic. That's driven a lot of growth. And then we have like a developer experience team who I personally think they have the best job in the world. And if I was to switch jobs, I'd want to join that team, which is they just build cool products and cool demos with their products. So yeah, I did one recently, which was Siri, like iPhone dictation's actually pretty bad. And like you're constantly having to go back and edit. So I built like an Apple shortcut, which uses our speech to text to transcribe what you say. So you just double tap the back of your phone or hold down the action button, uses speech text. You can go on a monologue for 10 minutes and then it feeds it to OpenAI's LLM, or you can do Gemini or any others, and it cleans it up So say I go, hey, James, it's great to meet you. Actually, hey, Jack, it's great to meet you. It will just automatically adjust it to hey, Jack.
Yeah.
And then that works. So that's like one demo we did.
Sick.
We did a really cool ElevenLabs MCP server demo.
Oh, nice.
Where you can even use, so conversational AI, on the fly, you can just say, order me a pizza from this number. And it will, on the spot, make you an AI agent and then phone that number. The agent will then have the prompt, your job is to order a pizza with these toppings. It will do it. And cheekily in the video, we even had it like negotiate the price of the pizza just with ourselves. But like, and then like, it genuinely can work for like automating any phone call. So there's like the MCP server, there's lots, and we have this like fun process for like launching products and features where we run it through. So yeah, launches are really big for us. We try and maximize the impact of every like new model.
Okay, cool. And then you've just taken over Louis from Louis, right? On the AI Tinkerers.
Oh yes, yeah. So Louis, AI Tinkerers, for people who don't know, I honestly think it's the highest quality engineering community I've ever been to. Like the people are fantastic, they're super friendly, and there's a real like homebrew computer club vibe.
Yeah.
And so I've been attending the London one since like the very first lot. I demoed some automated AI email roundup that I built. And then I think I've done a couple of demos since then. And it's just an incredible community. And so when Louis told me, Louis is the founder of Bloop, which does COBOL to Java conversion using LLMs, really cool product. And when Louis was like, I'm heading to New York, we've got these big banking customers to close.
I got to swoop in.
No, I was like, what's happening to the community? I was like, you started this thing. I mean, Louis done a fantastic, Louis also been the biggest champion for AI in London that I know.
Also,
and I was like, you're leaving. What's going on?
Well. Hilarious guy.
I know. No, he's also, I mean, he's really funny. So when he's leaving, I was like, what are you going to do? And then he's like, well, would you be up for doing it when I'm away? I was like, listen, it's your baby. If you ever come back, it's yours again. But like, I would be honored to help keep it going. So yeah, I've got a few plans for I want to do. Lou did fantastic job, like meetups every few months, super high quality. I'd probably love to make it a monthly thing. I think now just the pace of like AI, like the new model droppings, we now have the OpenAI image gen model. There's just so many cool things, which I think we can get some incredible speakers to come through and see if we can scale it up a bit further.
Yeah. The thing I think most about AI Tinkerers, I think Louis did really well, was like and I've spoken to him about this on the show, but I think he has this cool, like, you have to present work that you did yourself.
Yes.
And then he also is like so good at interrupting people.
Yeah. So the rule is you need to present your own work. And that basically means no DevRels, no salespeople, no marketers. It's like the vibe is homebrew computer club.
Yeah.
Like we do allow sponsors to keep the events going, but like if you want your sponsor to speak, it has to be the engineer who actually built the thing. And then the bit which will be very hard for me to fill.
Yeah, you've got to do it.
He just does hilarious heckles.
Yeah.
And his main heckle, if you've ever been, is make the font size bigger. Because like it will be,
everyone always does that.
Everyone always does
small.
It. And I have this like running joke, mainly with myself, which is like, which will come first, AGI or X? And one I did recently was like AGI or reliable autofill. Like, how has no one solved that? Another one is like AGI or like screen mirroring, because everyone comes up, they plug in their screen, they then see a second monitor on the presenter, and they're like, okay, I now need to system preferences. Anyway.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. But some problems are just hard. Yeah. Like, how has no one solved that as a OS level thing? But anyway.
Yeah. It's wild. I guess they need I feel like Raycast are like trying to solve like just a ton of things.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like anything annoying. I feel like maybe
Raycast is fantastic. The killer feature I think they've done recently is the focus mode, where
it's so
it
good.
turns off Slack, sets
Yeah.
a timer, doesn't let you open this again. Just really slick interface.
And you set a goal as well. I quite like that.
Set a
That's
goal.
quite cool.
The only thing I've messaged Thomas being like, please can you ship this, is like automatically change your Slack notification status to like focus mode back in however long the duration is. Because the tricky thing, like I feel fine doing it, which is like turn off Slack. But I can imagine if you're like a new employee or something, you feel like you need to keep that green circle on. And I'm like, no, like do deep work. That's where everything meaningful actually happens. Turn off Slack. But it would maybe be nice just to signal of like, hey, I'm still like working, but you know, I've turned off my Slack.
Yeah. True, that'll be cool. I think they're going to get some ElevenLabs in their in WorkOS.
I personally think so. This hacky prototype I built on shortcuts, which actually, if people are interested, it works really well. And all you have to do is click the iCloud shortcut link, and then you get it in your iPhone as well as on your Mac, and you can bind it to a shortcut. So it works really well. The only tricky bit is you then need to like add in your ElevenLabs API key and your like OpenAPI or OpenAI or Gemini key. But I was saying to Thomas, like, surely you guys should do like a super whisper killer because they already have the fantastic interface. It's all set up. They're doing all these AI features, but we will see.
Yeah, I think he's showing me some cool stuff they're doing where like you could just say like change the desktop background.
Oh, really?
And it would, like,
cool.
do it and stuff.
I have no insight into their roadmap. I also think certain companies, the roadmaps are very clear and certain ones are really hard. Like Posthog, what was very cool was like, we had this very clear ICP of product engineers. And then like almost is pretty clear of like, what are all the features that product engineers need to build product. Raycast, I don't know how they prioritize what they build, but kudos to them.
Just make computers and phones better. It's like,
they're not playing easy mode.
Okay, so on like you talked a bit about the growth stuff, but like with ElevenLabs, it seems like there'd be so many people using it. You get this like crazy growth for what really actually like matters. Like what can you do that matters?
So the biggest thing we try and do is maximize our launches. And so the research and the engineering team just creates incredible models, incredible products. And the best thing we can do is just make sure it gets out in front of everyone. And so we have a process by which we run through every launch. And so when we get told there's a new model like speech to text, we go, okay, is this a tier 1 launch? Is this like top, big? We want everyone to know about it. It should be surround sound the entire week of that launch. Or is this tier 2, which is like, it's a really cool feature. We should be loud about it, but it's not like, let's use all our resources possible to let everyone. And then tier 3 is basically like, it's on the changelog and the email list. So the ideal is, you know, when something comes, and the growth team is constantly looking for like, what's the engineering team shipped, which should be launches. And then we run it through our checklist. And so I have actually a blog post which goes into all of this with like literal templates that we use for our launches. And for a tier 1 launch, the first thing we do is like, when the product's ready, it's like, what's the core messaging we want to get across? And there's normally one primary message, which we want everyone to think about. And for us with speech to text is like the most accurate speech to text model in the world. So like that's, you know, if we do our launch right, that's the only thing. Like if it's one thing, that's the only thing they remember. There's normally then a couple of secondary like value props and messages we want to get across. So it would be like it's feature complete. So it has diarization, it has character level timestamps, word level timestamps. So that's like a second bit. Another one would be it supports many different languages and like more languages than ever before. So 99 plus languages. One like side point is a really cool bit is before you just didn't have accurate transcription models for Serbian, for Malay, for Gujarati, which is like millions of people who just don't have transcription as a thing. Like iPhone dictation does not work for them. And like now we do. So that was
super cool.
So we're like, but what's the primary message we get across? Then we turn that into our core assets. And so the core assets, normally, first one we actually start with is the tweet thread. So it's like, what's the hook? So, and there's a top tip is you start with the word introducing. Or launching. Like make it super clear you're launching something cool. Go like, introducing the world's most accurate speech-to-text model. Boom, one line break, nice and clear. Copywriting matters, nice and clear. Then you go into like bullet point list or paragraph with some of these secondary bits or reinforcing the first bit, or, you know, on benchmarks, it beats Whisper and it beats. So that, and then we attach a video. And so every tier 1 and tier 2 launch video we make a video. And videos are hugely underrated overall. Social algorithms massively focus on videos. So you need like a video. And there's a couple of different types of videos. One is motion design, which is kind of like design, Figma style design, or animated, like design, which is animated. So that's one. The second one is like the founder-led videos, where like you as the founder are there introducing it. And maybe it's okay, given I've spoken very positively about Raycast. Raycast, their product's amazing. Actually, if you look at their most recent launch video, founder-led videos are really risky, I think, for launches, because often you speak for about like a couple of minutes before you even introduce the feature. And with the TikTok level of attention, so like make sure you get your like your core message is the most accurate speech-to-text model. Say that in pretty much the first sentence, because if you look at then the retention of the video, people drop off. So like
you need to get it in the first.
You need to front load it. So that founder style videos, I think, are actually a bit risky unless you're excellent at editing. And then the third one is more like screen share, and particularly for developer audience who love to nerd out about like product and tech details, that can work really well.
And that's like further down the chain, like the people that are really interested go and watch the screen share.
Yes, yeah. But actually for tier 2 videos, we often lead with a screen share because it's like, you know, one feature we've just shipped is agent-to-agent transfers. So you can create different agents. You can even create human agents, or humans you then transfer the call to. So say you phone up, it's like, hey, I'm Luke from ElevenLabs. You're like, I want a refund. It's like maybe the AI isn't allowed to deal with that, so they forward it to a human. So for that, we can actually like within half an hour, film a quick screen share of a compelling demo, like showing the technical details. And you as an engineer who's maybe already considering this product or these types of products, that's actually exactly what you want to see. You don't need flashy motion design. So yeah, we do the X or Twitter thread, we do the video, and that's normally the core blog posts for new models with like ideally technical details, benchmarks is really great. And then you explode those into what we call like distribution. So then repost to every channel, repost to X, repost to Threads, repost to Blue Sky, launch it on Product Hunt. And actually, if you've got the core of these assets, it's actually really quick to do that. And then get your team to boost it, be loud, be proud about the incredible product and model you've just launched.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. So what do people search to find the blog post? It's just like...
So my website's harries.co, and it's called Launch Your Product.
Okay, cool. Yeah. People should go check that out.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Okay. Yeah. And I guess it's just way easier, again, saying this. It's like, if you have done something so cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Would you use the same method if you're like, you know, more of a kind of like traditional dev tool that's like, you know.
Yeah. I think a great example would be what Resend does. Resend's building a like reliable email API and like corresponding features around that.
Yeah.
If you don't market it well, it's pretty boring. Like it's not a new problem.
Yeah.
You know, you've had SendGrid, you've had like, there's probably like 50 other email, like Amazon does email sending. Like It's not particularly new. It's not particularly sexy, but like every time they launch something, they still put in the time to make like the feature great, to create like these fantastic React interfaces. Like they do make the products great, but then also they're like proud of like, hey, we've just shipped this feature. And the really cool thing about launches as a channel, as opposed to SEO or paid marketing or something else, is like every time you do a launch, you're telling your new customers, hey, we're shipping quickly. We've just built this incredible feature for you. Like, come use this with the rest of our product. But also you're telling all your existing features, hey, this is like a new feature we've just shipped, which you should probably use. So it helps with acquisition, helps with activation. Maybe someone signed up, they didn't activate, they got stuck.
Yeah.
They're like, I really needed agent-to-agent transfers. Now I've churned. It's like, oh no, actually they come back, they activate. And then they retain because like suddenly they're going deeper, they're using all these cool features. So yeah, I think pretty much every product should be thinking like create a checklist for your launch. Every company will look different depending on who their audience is, where they hang out. At Posthog, we really cared about like hack news. Could we, like the sign was, does your blog, if you had like a hacker news post like really ranked, that was like a, wow, we've
done a good job.
We've done a good job. So everyone will look different, but like create the checklist, iterate, make your launches impactful. And like you as growthy teams or developer relations or developer experience teams, like you owe it to your engineers and product teams and research teams to take the incredible work they do and get it out for everyone else.
Yeah. Okay, so we're coming towards the end. I just wanted like one last question to ask you. Is like you worked at like two of, I mean, the best dev tools around, fastest growing, especially when you think like UK somewhat affiliated, at least. I don't know if Posthog would say that, or ElevenLabs would say British company, but like, how do you pick where to work?
Both of them are pretty esoteric. You know, I've only got 2 data points. The first one with Posthog was I asked Dalton, so I founded a company which went through YC. And when I was working out my next move, I was like, ideally, I do want to start another company again soon. And I was like, Dalton's fantastic. He's our group partner. He's given me more good advice than anyone else in the world. And I was like, Dalton, like, I'm working out what I should do next. Like, should I launch another company straight away? Should I like go join a super early stage one? Should I join a like scale up? And he goes, well, look, you've never really seen what like true PMF feels like, what scale really feels like. And so I think you should like at least spend some time in a super fast growing company. And so that's why I like joined Posthog and helped them tackle some of their product stuff. But I think that like looking back, probably the core signal is, I think there's different stages, but the most important thing is like, are the founders truly excellent? Do they have a really great proxy? Is like, are they really great investors you really trust? Like, is A16Z involved with the company? That's normally a really great sign. Or Sequoia or the top firms. And then the product, like, is it a product you really deeply resonate with and really want to use? Like Posthog I'd used as a product and I knew it was great. And like I'd deployed my own version of Posthog on a Kubernetes cluster and like used it to ship my own products. ElevenLabs, I'd actually built like a AI priest, which would send you to, so as soon as they launched, I was like playing around with their API. I was like, this is incredible. And how it would work is just like, you could send it questions via text. It would send back voice notes. So
that's really
like,
cool.
Really play with the APIs. Like, is this something great? Is it like a 10x better product? And so far, I do think I've been very lucky, but I think if you choose founders which are really excellent, which want to build something massive, not just some quick sell, like founders who are really excellent with excellent investors, and like the product is really differentiated and fantastic, and you join at like a seed or series A, like there should be a lot of like scale to go, and hopefully you're only just getting started at this point. And at least ElevenLabs now, like we genuinely are still, we're only 2 years old. We're just getting started. We're hiring a lot. We're 200 people now. We're growing very quickly. So I mean, to give a cheeky answer, I would suggest they join ElevenLabs. And like one of the really cool things about joining at like this stage with ElevenLabs is like there's still so much upside. Like we're only $3 billion company. We genuinely think we can beat like the next Google. We can beat OpenAI. We can be in like trillions of dollars is like genuinely what everyone is aiming for in terms of like size, and the impact being like, can we get the best enterprises in the world? Can we get all of them? Can we get the best creators, the best developers? We're going like multi-product, and we're only 200 people now. And I personally find the like scaling phase super fun because there's still lots of like 0 to 1 cool stuff, but there's also like, you know, you get lots of people, fantastic talent joining. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Is it remote or do you have offices?
So we are technically remote first. But we do have in-person offices in New York, London, Warsaw, San Francisco, soon India, Japan, Korea. So like
Wow.
we're scaling up these hubs. And what we find, love working with the best talent wherever. And if you prefer to work from home, work from home. If you prefer being in the office, come join us in the office.
Cool. Okay, amazing. And then I'll just ask, do you have one rogue question? Do you have any final things that you would say to people listening, running a dev tool?
Yeah, I think if you're running a dev tool, it would be, just maximize the impact of your launches. Like you're already building really cool stuff. You know your customers well. You know where they hang out. Just like be a little louder. Take the incredible work that your engineering product research team is doing and amplify it to the world.
Okay, that was amazing. Luke, that was really fun.
Yeah,
I'm, like,
really enjoyed
super
it.
Galvanized. I'm like, let me get my
When
CV ready.
When are you gonna launch your product?
That's the question.
But either that or the CV. I would love to see either.
Thanks so much, Luke.
Yeah.
And thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you. Really fun.
First handshake on this.
Yes. Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah, we should read it more often.
Yeah. 100%.